All right, and with that, we are ready to begin our race program tonight. Thank you again for joining us. If you're here on the outside looking in, we appreciate your presence tonight. So you can let the racers know that you're here as they're coming around on these events by putting your hands together and making some noise. Our first group to the rail is Masters Madison. Please, Madison teams, find you on the rail right now. Our Madison teams to the rail. See them gathering themselves up. On deck will be juniors. We've got a lot of young riders getting set to race. Please do not miss your start times here. We've got a long program, and one of our main goals today is to stay on schedule. So make sure that we're listening for my announcements as we go through the night. And, of course, if you could take a look at the schedule and plan ahead, we'd appreciate your help on all that. Next race will be the 10 through 12-year-olds in their scratch race. Right now, Masters to the rail for the Madison. And that second whistle signals for the rest of the riders to get off. This is a Madison riders racing in teams of two. If you haven't watched one of these before, you're going to see our riders exchanging, a little hand-holding going in mid-race. They'll toss in their partner, and whoever was in the race will suddenly be out of it temporarily, and that is called being in the relief, or a relief rider. The riders that are going to start at the race are already over in turn 3. In their neutral, as soon as they are through turn 4, they'll get a whistle letting them know the race has started. On the back straight, our relief riders are going to start spreading out and finding a place to be along the rail. They're going to wait for their teammate to come back around and exchange as planned. So we'll see how our teams play this one out. Madison underway. A 6x5, this Madison is. So what's that mean? Well, we run them as a points race most of the time. So a 6x5 Madison just means a 6x5 points race in a Madison team. So 6 sprints every 5 laps. Teams at the front on certain laps will be getting points based on their finishing order on those laps. That goes 5, 3, 2, and 1 in a points race. That's how it's going to work in the Madison as well. Final sprint will be worth double. If one of our teams manages to get all the way around the track and lap the field, they gain 20. If one of our teams falls out of the field and gets lapped by them, they lose 20 points. Couple of exchanges going on here through turns 1 and 2. Now we see Team Yellow and Blue. The KW Racing Center Cycle squad at the front there. Our thanks to all of our Madison sponsors and their jerseys here that are on tonight. I see the Greg's Cycle green is second position, as Dave Chipchase has managed to get right back on the wheel there of the yellow and blue. Before the bell's ringing for the first sprint for points, everybody's just working together to see where they can end up on the track. A little bit of an attack there on the back straight, nothing too big. Everybody's waiting for that first sprint to see who's going to try to establish some kind of tempo here. And since the format is a 6x5, every 5 laps there's going to be a sprint. This first bell is going to be coming next time around when those lap cards show 26 to go. A little bit of acceleration here on that last exchange coming through the back part of the track now. We're going to see as the bell's ringing, it looks like White's going to be looking to get mixed in here. Bell's ringing for points next lap. So first team across the line picks up 5. Yeah, so Team White going to go ahead and throw in here. That's the Eric Johnson White team. Kiddie Williams in that blue and yellow team finds 5. The black team will pick up 3. Green gets 2. Pink gets 1. So after that sprint, trying to drop some teams here, black and the yellow and blue team are suddenly going to become a team of, well, essentially 4 racers, to include their relief friends. And working together here is to their benefit. They're trying to drop a couple of teams behind them. Team Green will have none of it. Looks like they're trying to get up there quickly before they find themselves totally out of the race. These two teams are the ones with the most number of points. It looks like Team Green, that's Mike Robson, that's currently in the race with bib number 4 for Greg's Green, getting into contact with the leaders.
Good day to you, madam.
Robson throws in Chip Chase, his teammate for Green, who will do the work once again to get back onto the rear wheel here. And our lead group of 3 finds themselves all together under turn 1 in our Masters Madison. Points next lap. 2 teams trying to do the exchange here. As Lofaholes is going to get tossed in for the black team. The team currently in 2nd. Team Green in 3rd right now. Trying to stay on the gas here to try to get up to Kenny Williams. Tossing in his buddy. Going to be Brett Walker in for the yellow and blue. It's KW Racing Center Cycles team at the front. Greg's chasing down. Hans Lofaholes also in the black team trying to get around the outside. It's going to be a 3-up sprint for 5. Whoa, I think it's going to be Walker for the blue and yellow. Black team for 3, and Green's going to find 2, I believe. So same finishing order after all that. Pink should be able to find another point in this one as Haldeman will pick that one up.
Go downtown and have a rap. Gnaw that thing off your face. Good day to you, madam.
Currently in the lead, our blue and yellow team with 10 points. Blue and yellow, KW Racing Center Cycles sponsored jersey. The Edge and Spoke black team is in 2nd place with 6 right now. Sitting in 3rd is the Greg's Green team with 4 points. The Paragon Fitness pink team sits in 4th place currently with 2 points. Those numbers do match the officials' records, as I'm just doing my best from up here. All official results, of course, will be posted on the infield following these events. In the meantime, I'll do my best to keep everybody updated how things are going for our riders and for our spectators. 17 to go. We still have a couple more sprints here to solve where we're going to end up. Team Blue-Yellow has taken 2 in a row to jump out to a nice lead here early on. On deck, the 4-lap scratch for the 10 to 12-year-olds, followed by the 6-lap scratch for the 13 to 14-year-olds. So our juniors are getting themselves warmed up. You can see some of them out there right now in the warm-up circle, getting ready for their first race tonight of several. Or a couple, I suppose, for our youngest riders. Here's the bell for the front 3 riders. The group leading the lap right now. Pink and white in the chase. Going to be a busy sprint here. Yellow and blue doing a toss in before getting to the line, and it's going to give the Edge and Spoke black team a chance to find their first 5. Kenny Williams in the blue and yellow finding 3. Greg Cycle is going to get 2 more in that one, and Pink's going to get 1 here in just a moment. So that last sprint will keep it a little closer, as now black gets a little bit more up on that lead. They're almost up to where blue and yellow are. Blue and yellow sitting with 13 points, black with 11. So a 2-point spread right now. Green with 6, sitting in third, and pink's got 3, good for fourth. Leaders seeing 12 to go. 12 to go for the leaders. That's these three coming across the line now. Again, the team with the most number of points is blue-yellow team. These Madison jerseys that they're wearing are provided just for racing in the Madison. Our athletes show up and we have the jerseys, but we have them thanks to our sponsors that have been helping us provide these jerseys for our athletes. And of course, our thanks to Vi13, our fantastic partner for working and making our custom jerseys, including our leaders jerseys for the past season and our great selection of Madison jerseys. Good exchange here on the home straight from the Eric Johnson white team. As Eric Johnson gets tossed in, bell is ringing for the leaders, who are in short order going to be catching white. White going down one, but not eligible on this sprint since the sprint was already engaged. So pink is on the way for another 1 point in all certainty. Yellow and blue sprinting for 5 more. Hoping to get this one instead of the Edge and Spoke black team. Looks like Jay Delaney's going to challenge. He might have found enough. Unofficially, might have been the black team that time. I'm going to wait for the official call to confirm. Team green for 2. And again, white got lapped on as the sprint was already started, so they are not eligible. Pink will be picking up another point here. So it is the Edge and Spoke black team that takes that last sprint officially. Jay Delaney and Hans Lovelholz, the team in black, are now tied with our yellow and blue team, both sitting with 16 points currently. Edge and Spoke tied up with the Kiddie Racing Center Cycle team. Greg's Green is got 8 points. The Greg's Green team with 8 sitting in third. Paragon Fitness has 4 points. Currently good for fourth still. So certainly the race that we're going to be keeping the most attention on right now is between the black team and the yellow and blue team, as they're currently in a tie for points. So if you want to watch where the action really is in terms of what we watched these last couple sprints, that's going to be the most interesting thing to watch. Team green, if they could get away from these guys and actually pick up the next couple wins, might actually start taking a jump at that lead, maybe, if that were the way this were to play out. I don't think those guys are going to let Team Green get away from them, though. Pink is on their way to being the fourth place team, pretty well set in stone as long as they can keep this going here. So again, what we're really keeping our eye on is how is black going to be racing up against yellow and blue. And this attack by green might be benefiting the blue and yellow team a little bit now, as looks like black's having to do a bit of work to catch back up. That bell is for a second to last sprint, so we're almost there. A tie in the lead right now as the Greg Cycles green team finds himself at the front of this sprint. Pink about to go down the lap, although the sprint has already been started, so they're going to be missing out on some points, it looks like here. So Pink losing eligibility now, but it looks like our Kiddie Racing Center Cycles team finds 5. Green will find their first 3 of the race, and black's starting to hurt a little bit. We'll find 2 there. The white team will find 1 in this sprint shortly. So I have our leaders now, the yellow and blue team with 21 points, while now in second place our black team has 18 points. We'll credit the 3 points to Greg's Cycles green team, moving him up to 11 in third place. And our pink team, now down a lap, is actually minus 16, but they're still good for fourth after that. The final sprint is worth double points, so Kenny Williams and Brett Walker in that yellow and blue jersey can't just sit off the back of this. They do have to stay engaged. If they weren't getting any points in this while Team Black gets them all, that would not be a good situation for them, so they want to make sure they get in on this next sprint. 2 to go. 2 to go. For the black team, it's currently Jay Delaney in there. Likely going to be seeing an exchange before the finish as Hans Lofelholz is over in turn 3, thinking about the bell coming up soon. Kenny Williams going to likely be tossing in his buddy Brett Walker before the finish as well, who's over in turn 4. Here comes our exchange for the Edge and Spoke black team, a pretty high-speed exchange in turn 4. And Walker getting set up here as the bell's ringing for 1 to go. Hans Lofelholz in the chase trying to get back up here as this exchange gets going. Brett Walker is going to be at the front of the race. He's not in full-out attack mode, though. He's actually waiting to see who wants to come up to the front and whose wheel he can be on. Looks like the green team, Mike Robson currently in there, and now Brett Walker kind of stealthily staying low in his bike is just able to get up to really high speeds. And before you know it, he's cruising. So here comes Walker trying to close it down. Lofelholz has got the wheel, though. He's going to challenge. Lofelholz and Walker. Oh, I think it's Walker on the inside by a narrow margin. But the eye test says it's going to be that team there. Oh, man. We'll confirm the finish for sure. It will be the KW Racing Center Cycles team that does edge out the Edge and Spoke team for the 10 points and confirming their victory today in the Masters Madison. Juniors are getting a quick rollout procedure on the home stretch here, making sure that their gearing isn't too big. We have gear restrictions in place for our younger riders. So coming onto the track next, again, our 10 through 12-year-olds going to be going on a fun scratch race here in just a moment. They're going to be followed up by some 13 and 14-year-olds. This is our regional championships for track cycling. As such, we have age-based categories coming up to the race in all these different types of formats to allow for some even competition and for the awarding of medals for their age groups. So juniors, of course, going to be a primary group in that conversation. We have these 10 to 12-year-olds as our first group. We'll have some 13 to 14-year-olds out here, 15 through 16, as well as 17 through 18. And that's fairly standard categories for both our regional, and if you were to ever go and watch national competition in cycling, you'd see the same thing. All right, we have a field of 10 to 12-year-olds. Excellent. We're going to get the official information needed here at the line to make sure they're all set to go. That's right. This is the third session of Fred's Race. Why do we call it that? What's going on with Fred's Race? Well, Fred C. Rayburger Memorial is the official name of this event. And this is in memory of our good friend, Fred, who we lost too early. And, of course, when he was a part of our community, Fred was known as being a person to bring people together on bikes. He would invite you and a friend and make you come on out to either race or enjoy a race with him. He was someone that knew how to build a community around this great activity. So when we lost Fred, there was this void around the cycling community, around the cycling world, and it felt appropriate to create some kind of an event to bring people together. And what more appropriate kind of an event than a championship that would bring riders from across borders to come here to Redmond and race and celebrate their work from the season. That was the beginning of this great event, and we continued it on in his memory. Fred's race here at the track. We're proud to offer once again our regional championships in our third session, and our juniors just about ready to get started out of turn 4. There's the whistle. We can now start counting down laps. They'll see 4 to go. A quick mile of racing. Boom, here we go, just like that. Ben Jurassic for the Liquid Velo team is excited to go, and I know JC Pyle is too. Most of the riders out there in the black and the blue of the Jerry Baker Juniors team, but you'll see a couple that stand out. We got, of course, the black and green for Liquid Velo in second wheel, and then looks like we got one rider wearing the Broadmark Capital colors. That's Logan Lee out there competing tonight. And then a whole pile of our juniors from the Jerry Baker team out there to join in on the fun. Going for their medals tonight in this fun scratch race. Just 3 laps remain, and these two are going to be relentless. I can already see it. We are streaming the action, so if you want to share our regional championships with friends or family afar who couldn't make it here tonight, or just to kind of give them a taste of what we're doing, you can get commentary and the feed by going to youtube.com and finding our channel. That's JB Velodrome on YouTube. Share the live stream, give us a subscription, hit the alert button so you know when we're streaming live, and the more viewers we get, the better it is for track cycling here in the Pacific Northwest. We appreciate your support. Ben Jurassic feeling like he's got the tempo he needs to go ahead and close this thing down at 2 to go. JC next in the lineup here. Logan Lee at the front of the rest of the riders here. 2 to go. Men Elite Keirin heats are in the process of being posted on the infield. They are getting taped up now, so if you want to come check up on your heats for the Keirins, Elite Men being posted. There's our bell, 1 to go. Ben Jurassic well ahead of the rest of the field right now, trying to close this thing down. One to go, 1 to go. One to go. Well done for our winner tonight in the 4-lap scratch, Ben Jurassic. Here comes JC Pyle doing a nice effort out in front of the field, and a nice sprint coming out of turn 4 for more youngsters. Who's going to be able to get to the front of this one? Look down the far right side. I think he's going to find it's going to be Indigo, I believe. Indigo Vining with a great sprint around the far right side of the field. Nice finish for the juniors here, putting out a ton of effort today in their 4-lap scratch. 13 and 14-year-olds are coming up next. Quick rollout, and then we'll have them out on the track for their, I believe, a 6-lap scratch. We got another real field here for our 13 to 14-year-olds, and a 6-lap scratch going to be coming up. If you didn't figure it out the last one, it's a pretty straightforward race. We give them the number of laps, and at the end of it, there'll be a bell at 1 to go, and the first rider across the line is our winner. That's all there is to it. For podiums, there are, of course, we have our girls and our boys here combined together. We will podium them separately, so there is a race within the race, but it's still fun to talk about who's at the front of the overall field, but we can also be reminded of that race within the race while we're watching it. On deck, the beginning of the Omnium for the elite women and the 17-18-year-old women. So we got our junior women and elite women's first race in the Omnium. They will be followed by the elite men and the 17-18-year-old juniors for their first race in the Omnium. So those races are coming up here pretty quick. An Omnium, of course, a tough day. They've got a lot of races ahead of them. Plenty of laps to go for those competitors, so they're going to get well warmed up before their first event. Off we go for the neutral. 13 and 14-year-olds looking for podium places in this championship. Medals on the line for top 3 finishers. Right now in the neutral course, so the race hasn't started until they get the whistle out of turn 4. Just to make sure nobody gets an unfair start in these mass start groups. Riders of all ages are encouraged to give track racing a try. If you couldn't tell, we're pretty supportive of every type of rider out here at our track. Some riders are wearing our colors, the Jerry Baker Jr.'s team. We support adults in their journey to learn how to race the track bike too. And we've got a great community of teams out here. Our staff, of course, our supportive board, all ready to jump up and help you find out how you can get connected into this community. If you want to learn more about track racing, don't hesitate to ask how you can get involved too. The easiest way is to sign up for a track class, although this season has closed out of opportunities. Our adult classes are all run dry. That you'll have to wait until next year to be able to sign up for one of those. In the meantime, we could certainly point you in the right direction for some things you can do here at our publicly owned facility. If you're more into just browsing the information yourself, we'd point you towards our website, velodrome.org, where you can find our calendar and more information about everything that we offer here at our Velodrome. Again, the website, velodrome.org. In our junior 13 to 14-year-old field, just getting this thing kind of warmed up. They're seeing 4 to go. Isaac Jurassic, another strong competitor in our junior fields, always willing to go, go, go. Making a move here at 4 to go, trying to drop some riders behind him. The next closest rider to try to hold on to that pace is going to be Itai Malakoff. Looks like behind him, Joe Spranger, I think, is the next rider up in that group trying to chase him down with Will Fowler in tow. So a couple of our boys trying to make it quick off the front right now for each other and laying down the hurt at 3 to go. Now it's Malakoff and Jurassic kind of playing cooperatively. Well, never mind. As Malakoff swings up, so does Jurassic. That's a sign that, I ain't doing no work. If you ain't doing it, I guess we're going to go slower. That's an okay way to play this. It's forcing Itai's hand right now. He's like, well, if you don't want to work, I guess we're going to get joined in. Maybe by the 2 chasers here too in a bit here after Fowler and Spranger are working to try to catch back up. Now it looks like they are willing to do some work together. 2 to go. Still Spranger and Fowler in the chase. Lucy Gilchrist in this group of 3, doing some work to try to keep them close. Danielle Scoville in the all-white, another one of our girl competitors out there, hoping to keep an eye on wherever Lucy is. I think that's Cooper Bunn in the mix in that group as well, going down the back straight. The front of the race sitting up a little bit now, anticipating the bell, and they are basically in a match sprint in their heads, giving an opportunity for Joe and Will. And of course, Itai takes a look and sees them coming and says, all right, we got to keep this thing kind of moving here. So he's keeping an eye on what's behind him and what's in front of him now. Showing good poise here on the track. Our 13, 14-year-olds who know how to race this thing. They know where the speed in this field is, so they're just watching each other, trying to be careful of what's behind them. 1 to go. On the back straight, it's going to be Jurassic that does take the initiative to make the attack. He's looking over his shoulder, hoping that Itai's not there, but he still is, and he's trying to chase in. This could be a good finish. Jurassic on the inside. Malakoff is, that's not quite enough to do it. Isaac holds off, and here comes Joe Spranger for his finish. Putting in a big last lap effort. Will Fowler with a great race. Here comes Danielle Scoville saving this big sprint to finish the race as well. Lucy Gilchrist with a great race. And we got a couple more finishers still coming before we bring up our first Omnium race for our women. Cooper Bunn. That's Leah Holslander coming across the line, as well as Shelly Guthrie finishing up in their first race. Let's bring up the Omnium for our women. This first race is Scratch. Our elite women and the 17, 18-year-old juniors that are competing in the event invited to the rail for race 1 of the Omnium, Scratch. On deck, the first of the Omnium for the elite men and the 17, 18-year-old junior men. Looking for those 12 laps on the cards, and we got a 12-lap event about ready to get started. Our neutral underway. So the way the Omnium works, for those that may not have watched one before, just to kind of understand what the game plan here is, there's a race at the end of the night. That's the 4th race in the Omnium. If I place really well in this race, I get points added to my score for the last race. So as I go through these Omnium races, we're going to keep track of their progress here. And if based on placings I earn a certain number of points coming into the last race, it'll be a points race. So if I've won 3 races in the Omnium, I'm going to have a whole lot more points to start the points race. It'll make that last race easier for me. So that's the way we run this International Omnium. It's kind of a culminating effort coming into the final race of the night. Starting off with this Scratch race. $12 to go. Nisa Erickson of the Holte Law Peak Condition team is the rider at the front in bib 118. Pulls up out of the way. Don't want to be there too long, as this field's got some competitors in it. Want to make sure that you use your effort at the right time. Share the workload and make sure you save it for what will likely be a sprint finish or a highly contested finish, since the distance on this race isn't on the longer side. A 12-lap event overall. We'll see how these riders play it out. Pretty good clip here on the first couple laps. I believe that's Kawoka that pulls up and out of the way, if I'm not mistaken. With Edwards coming to the front at 10 to go. A couple laps completed, and now we're in our paceline formation trying to move things along. At 8 to go. We're in this formation right now, moving around the track kind of cooperatively at the goal again. We're getting the lap cards down, getting closer to what should be a fast finish. Looking over the Beverage Garden O-line now to come on over and join us. Just headed to the Red Vision Tech tent, covering up the entrance there. Purchasing tonight, of course, we've got $5 pours, all supporting the Marymore Velodrome Association. Beverages available from Mac and Jack's Brewery, Locust Ciders, and OS Winery. 7 to go. Five to go. Couple of quick laps will now sort of concede the speed for a moment. Riders pull up to the right a little bit around that blue line. Man, okay, we're all in this still, so maybe now it's time to start thinking about the next couple of laps and game planning, a little bit of strategy time. In about a lap or two, we're going to be in that setup time before the finish, as we're going to be hearing the bell in about 2 laps time as our group comes through turn 3 now. Everybody bunched together, signaling to all of us here that they're definitely in slow motion compared to where they were a little bit ago. Again, time to get a little bit of oxygen into the system and reset before the sprint. 3 to go on the cards. 3 to go. You can see Skylar Samuelson high along the track as the one. Keep looking over the shoulder, waiting like somebody's going to go here at some point. Emily McNary kind of sneaking up underneath the bottom of the group in the black with that white helmet in the right area, actually coming up to the front of the sprinter's lane. That's Lisa Erickson, but not engaging any type of speed yet. Still just trying to hold off. If we could have the Dr. Walker Sports Chiropractor tent lowered a little bit, that would help us. We appreciate your help on that. Thank you very much. Okay, back to the racing here. A lap coming in is going to be the bell, and this speed is really coming from the group now as they're getting set for the finish. Sort of weaving in and out of the group. It's going to be Lisa Erickson coming to the front at 1 to go. Gritting her teeth and trying to get this thing rolling up at high speeds. Emily McNary is the rider at 103 in the black kit with that kind of gray helmet. Found a good wheel, but looks like a lot of riders in this field agreed that Lisa Erickson was a good wheel to follow. She brought things up to speed pretty quickly, and now I'm looking at Annette Williams for Center Cycles, still with plenty of speed left in this finishing moment. Coming through the turn, it looks like Skylar Samuelson and Annette Williams are going to be going head-to-head. Samuelson comes up just short in this first event here, and it'll be Annette Williams taking first, Skylar Samuelson second, Emily McNary third. The Omnium for our men is now coming up. Race 1 for the Omnium for the elite men and junior 17, 18-year-olds. Come to the rail, please. The first race for the Omnium for the men is a 20-lap scratch, just now getting started on the neutral. Good size field tonight competing in our Omnium for the men's side of this competition. Again, the Omnium will be out here 4 times in total. Our women just completing their first race of 4. Our men just about to begin their first. 20 laps on the cards. We're going to be calling up the Masters after this for their 10-lap scratch. All Masters will be called up here after this for the 10-lap scratch. To go. Neutral lap now over after the whistle. 20 laps of racing. David Miller for that Split Mango team is back for some more after racing last night out on the front of the field on this very first lap. Our field taking their turns at the front. Different riders will come to the front and quickly abandon, as there's not a lot of people wanting to move this field along too quickly early on. Another thing to keep in mind when you have these Omnium events is conservation is part of the athleticism. These riders need to be smart with when to use their efforts. You only have so much energy when you come and start your evening out at the track, so this first race, you're just starting on a long trek towards that final points race in the Omnium. Everyone's finishing order important for their ongoing success in the Omnium, so we got a track where every rider comes across, and sometimes this isn't your race to put in too much energy, so everybody's playing it a little careful early on, trying to get a sense of how much am I going to have to work tonight. A few less competitors than we had last night, but a lot of our strong riders have come back for some more this evening, for sure. So we'll see how this thing plays out. Still plenty of racing left to go in this one. They just saw 15 to go as they came across the line that time. I believe that's Bib 12, Arden Schmidt, that tried to accelerate some things. A large group of riders respond pretty quickly. The field just gets right up to speed in response. Now we see 3 riders beginning to pull away from this field. This could be interesting at 13 to go. So we're going to look at our group here as Christian Miller, Andy Baker, Dave Richter are the 3. No question, those are worth watching. So Dylan Davies, bib number 3, right away going to put in an effort here to try to get back up there. And if it's any indicator, our winner in the 4K earlier today by about 20 seconds time, actually, Dylan Davies. We know he's got distance built into him. So if he guys get up the front, it's a good thing for the leaders, a bad thing for this field. So it took a while just for me to confirm, but yes, it is a 12 lap for the Masters coming up. A couple of different schedules out there, and one of the mistakes was the laps on this next race. So a 12 lap Masters scratch race is upcoming. 10 to go. Halfway through this first race in the Omnium for the men. Now Stephen Wilson finds himself at the front. Good amount of tempo here from the group. Most riders finding the response needed to keep it all together. 8 to go. The Rocket's sitting down there in the sprinter's lane, just going to keep him with the tempo. Looking around to see if anybody else is going to keep with him. Might as well roll it a little bit here. Forcing riders to respond. Dylan Davies for Langlois Racing in the white. Starting to do the work necessary to get up there. Will overtake Richter and now is setting the front of the race. This is a tough amount of laps remaining if you really want to try to break away from this field now, as we're getting down to a low enough number that a breakaway just seems really tough to set up at 7 to go. Maybe if this field backs off the tempo a little bit at some point, you might see them sit up that might be a time where you'll see a rider just pop out and try to go at top speed, catch everybody else asleep. Otherwise, this is going to be a field that likely is going to be keeping it all together until they get to the end at this rate. Sitting mid-track, a little bit of hesitation for just about everybody here. Nobody sitting down in the sprinter lane at the front. So this slowing moment could be an opportunity. Still cruising along pretty well, though. This is one of those riders I was talking about. Steven Wilson's, as soon as they sit up, he knows he doesn't have any laps left. So in his brain, he's got a timer going down. I got to make a move. If I can win the race this way, I got to go now. And if I wait, I probably won't have an opportunity to do this. No help behind him. It's just Wilson's now at 5 to go. A little bit more than a mile of effort on his own as the field is thinking, okay, what's next? Wilson's unquestionably very competent at this type of enduro effort. Loves finding these little places that he can get away from the field and at least make it hard for them on a night like this. Andy Baker says, I've had enough of this. I'm going to see if I can get there quickly and not allow this thing to develop too long. If I set this attack now, maybe we can roll with it to the end. 4 to go for Wilson's. Baker in the chase, Dylan Davies right here with him. 2 more riders joining in on the fun as well. That's one rider from Fount Cycling, Chris Wilson. Norman Richard, 43, also in the lead group. So those brakes have come back together again. We still see Wilson's here at the front. The field beginning to reposition themselves. Now we got to look at it. 2 to go is where are riders in this field? Some of our strong finishers are going to try to position themselves midfield and see if they can find a wheel to launch an attack around as things are still pretty much together. Wilson's now going to try it one more time, but at 2 to go, this is going to be a tough thing to do. David Miller for Split Mango also joining in on this. You think that looks like a pretty big gap, but once this field gets re-engaged in a moment, it's going to go away pretty fast. So they're going to have to really go all in on this move if they want to see some results. Wilson's at the front. 1 to go. 1 to go. Watch this field here. Any second now, we're going to see some riders popping out from the side of this group. It's tight down there at the front as Chris Wilson is the lead rider. Jay Delaney near the front, also going to try to set up an attack. Richter's got a nice wheel here. Look out for Murrison, the red truck racer, also on that wheel, all in a good position. Dylan Davies, Andy Baker starting to accelerate, but look at this. David Miller, no one can catch me from the Split Mango Racing team. I'll take the first race tonight. Wilson's holds on for second, and Murrison will find third. Not enough from the field to catch our leaders. So Wilson's and Miller combo up to effectively hold off the field in the first of the Omnium races. David Miller with a nice start for his evening. Along with Wilson's there. I think Murrison, again, our rider out of the field, will get third. Masters, 12-lap scratch, come on up. Another reminder to exit on the same lap that we finished. Thank you very much. Following this race, there will be an extra 5-minute delay to allow for changing of gearing in preparation for the Keirins, as well as give a little bit more rest time before we get that started. So extra 5-minute rest time will be added in preparation for Keirins coming up soon. I do have one Stanley Preem for this race. That's a really interesting mix of things. I got the legendary bottle, 1 Preem in this race. Bell will come from up here. On the track right now, our 12-lap scratch for Masters competitors. Coming up next, Keirin heats for the Leighton men. Again, a little bit of delay to allow for change of gearing and some delay. Take it around another time. Still in the neutral. Gonna hope our riders are together here to establish our race in just a moment. Racing begins. 12 to go. Ten laps remaining. The field looking around to see who's going to do the next bit of work here. What is, in reality, a fairly short race. 12 laps. We're going to see, I think, some of our fast finishers benefiting from the distance here. Especially as riders kind of abandoning that faster speed, swinging up and allowing things to reset themselves. Good effort here to improve the overall speed of the group. A large enough field that you don't want to totally sit on your laurels on this one. A couple different riders doing the work. Coming to the home straight, that's going to be Mike Rogers leading things out now. Seeing 8 to go. Seven to go. 7 to go. Seeing Waterman at the front with Mike Fadich now taking the lead position. Vern Cole also in that lead group. Hyun Lee starting to sneak up there. We're not to the final laps yet, but they're just trying to establish tempo. Again, creating some pressure on the rest of this field. We'll see, though. Fadich looks like he's starting to get kind of engaged with this speed, and Vern Cole certainly comfortable doing an effort like this himself. This will play to his strengths, so we'll see how long they try to apply this. Dave Chipchase, I see right behind him, though, is liking to do something similar himself. The rider in the black and green, number 6. So a little bit of daylight, not guaranteeing much. Some of the riders in that lead group saying, I don't know if this is going to pay off. Fadich says, I don't really care what you think. I'm just going to go ahead and keep driving this thing and see what happens. And Hans Lofelholz will do the work to bring everybody back up. This field, sitting above the blue line, is the front of the race, seeing 3 to go. Everyone else behind them chasing back on. Dave Chipchase decides to do a mini effort there to pull the group, try to see if he can get the group going back again at their normal speed. Vern Cole, 2 to go, on the move. And coming into the bell, Vern Cole sitting at the front. Down the back straight, it's Eric Waterman at the front, but look at Hans Lofelholz finding his place and opportunity now to put a big attack on the field. Lofelholz coming out of the group for Split Mango. Mike Rogers finding his way through the group will come across the line second. I think that's Brett Walker, if I'm not mistaken, in the red, taking third. All right, we are putting 5 minutes on the clock to make sure that we are true to our word. We're going to give some time for transition of gearing and a little bit more rest before the Keirin heats start. Heat A will be Karlberg, Pryhuber, Martinez, Wilsons, Bruneau, Lofelholz, and Crane. Heat B will be Miller, Richter, Bowie, Davies, Hotchkiss, Baker, and Gooch. And 5 minutes is up. We're going to call Heat A to the ready area. Heat A for the Elite Men Keirin Heats. To the ready area, please. Calling Carlberg, Pryhuber, Martinez, Wilsons, Bruno, Lofelholz, and Crane to the ready area for their Keirin Heat. On deck, Miller, Richter, Bowie, Davies, Hotchkiss, Baker, and Gooch. Taylor Crane takes lane 1. Andrew Carlberg drew position 2 in second lane. That's going to be Nicholas Martinez in the third lane. Hans Lofelholz will be fourth lane competitor. In the fifth spot is Keith Bruno. Andrew Pryhuber is in lane 6. 3 riders advance to the major final. Pacer is on its way. Pacer exiting the turn. Riders ready. This 4-lap race brought up to speed by our e-bike at the front. No one can cross over the rear wheel of that thing, so everybody's got to line up behind it the way that they drew position at the start. In order of 1 through 6, as we just called a moment ago. After 4 laps, the front 3 riders will advance to the major final. A little bit more cutthroat tonight. There's no minor final. If you don't make the upper cut, you're done tonight in the Keirins. So you got to get in the top 3 to continue to race. If you make it in, you will be competing for 1st through 6th place later on in the program. You'll notice that each time they come around, they look like they're going a little bit faster. That's no deception or illusion. That's the job of that pacer. We got a little bit of a speedometer on there, just giving us a general sense of how quick that thing's going. So we can bring our riders up to speed gradually and consistently until we drop them off on the back straight with a lap and a half remaining. It is up to the riders. It is their prerogative right now if they want to begin to reposition themselves. So as long as Taylor is at the front and no one else comes to take it from her, she must try to stay right behind that bike until it's out of the way, which is what she's doing as best she can. The closer she gets, the better draft she's going to get, so that's going to help her to this moment where now she's the front of the race. Carlberg on her wheel, looking around, slowing up a little bit, trying to see what's happening behind him. You'll see one rider coming up into the right view there as Lofelholz begin to reposition himself. Crane still at the front. At 1 to go, top 3 to advance. You can see Pryhuber up and out of the saddle, the right in the black and the green, is making a run at it from the back end of the field. He tried to do it out of sight of everybody. So he had that advantage to him, but now as we get up to speed down the back straight, you can already start to see where the break is. It looks like we've got a group of 4. Bry Huber starting to lose a little bit of ground here. Just need to get 3 in to go to the majors. Karlberg, Lofelholz, and Bruneau. Heat B, Christian Miller, Dave Richter, John Bowie, Tyler Davies, Lachlan Hotchkiss, Andy Baker, and Robert Gooch are our next group coming up onto the track. Following the heats for the Keirins. This is our second heat and the last heat. We go on to the scratch race for our junior 10 through 12-year-olds. Their second one tonight, a 2-lapper. That coming up here shortly. In lane 1, drawing position 1 is Robert Gooch down at the bottom of the track. In lane 2 will be Tyler Davies. In lane 3 is David Richter. Lane 4 looks to be Lachlan Hotchkiss. In the 5th lane, in the blue jersey, is Christian Miller. And on the far outside edge, in lane 6, looks to be Andy Baker. Once again, 3 riders advancing to the major final. The rest of the riders will not make the cut and will be done with their Keirin this evening. Pacer exiting the turn. Riders, ready. It's going to be Robert Gooch, our rider, in that blue jersey, bib 35, the orange helmet on. Compelled to take the bike on the first lap. Now our group's starting to get together here. Gooch at the front. Tyler Davies right behind him. The dark ring of David Richter. Hotchkiss, the rider, in 4th position. Miller, 5th. Baker, 6th. Again, this is a heat, not for medals just yet. We're watching to see who's going to be in the top 3 to be able to continue racing tonight for 1st through 6th. Those that do not make the cut will be done with their Keirins this evening. Trying to see who's going to join Karlberg, Lofelholz, and Bruneau in that second round of racing. Seeing 2 to go, almost up to top speed. At 1 to go, Gooch is going to go for it from the front. No better way than to go fast at this point. They're starting to let him get away from him a little bit. Now the speed's starting to pick up through turn 1. That's going to be Tyler Davies that finds himself at the front of that second group, getting back up to Robert Gooch at the front. As Davies comes up over the right, he's got just enough room to do so. As coming over the top of him is going to be Richter. And the Rocket looks like he's on his way to qualifying. It's going to be a sprint for who's going to be the top 3 here, though. Whoa! I think it might be Christian Miller, the man out. Does it look to be Baker, Davies, and Richter finding their way in? Unofficially.
Let's go.
10 to 12-year-olds to the rail, please. Juniors to the rail. So as called, that will be our three. Baker making it in with Richter and Davies, our top three from that group. Our 10 to 12-year-olds coming up for a two-lapper. Don't close your eyes, don't blink, don't look away. It'll be over before you know it. A speedy two-lap scratch coming up for our youngest juniors. Going around through their neutral. Our youngest group of juniors, the 10 to 12-year-olds, are now underway for their two-lap scratch. No reason to wait. It's going to be over before you know it. So up to speed we go. 2 to go. It's like a double chariot here. JC Pyle finds himself at the front of the race currently. Ben Jurassic right behind him. Logan Lee making the front group of three riders. They're going to be getting the bell. No reason to wait. The race is almost over. We just got it started. 1 to go. 1 to go. Down the back straight, waiting for the attack. It's going to be JC waiting for Ben to move as they both get up to speed. JC's got the sprinter's lane, but Ben's got a little bit more speed coming through turn 3. Coming out of turn 4, it's the rider in the black and green for Liquid Velo that looks like he's got the advantage. JC Pyle coming in next. Oh, look at this sprint. First, third across the line. The sprinter's lane holds on. It looks like that's Caleb with a good sprint to the line. Just barely over Indigo with a great effort there. So nice racing for the 10 to 12-year-olds as they are going to exit on the back straight. Let's bring on up our 13 to 14-year-old competitors for their race. 13, 14-year-old juniors to the rail. And we're going to bring up our 13 to 14-year-olds for a 15-lap points race. A 3x5 is the format, so 3 sprints every 5 laps. We're going to be giving out points 3 times in this race. Our 13, 14-year-olds about ready to get started. 15 laps on this one. Again, a 3x5. Points racing works where the format tells you how many sprints there will be and how many laps apart they will be. So in this case, 3x5, 3 sprints, 5 laps apart. On those laps, you will hear a bell on the preceding lap. As riders come across on the sprint lap, they're going to earn points in their finishing order. 5 to the first rider, 3 to the second, 2 to the third, and 1 point to the fourth rider. This is the same points race type of format that we saw from the Madison at the beginning of tonight's session. The final sprint will be worth double. Racing underway. The first bell will be ringing at 11 to go. First bell ringing at 11 to go. $13 to go. Bell at 11 for the first point sprint. 13 to 14-year-old juniors battling it out here in this points race. Just getting them started a few laps ago. Coming up next, after this one's finished up, we're going to be bringing up the international tempo for 15 to 16-year-old juniors. And our first bell for points, ringing on the lap. Bells for points, bell for points. Looks like Liquid Velo finding the first 5 here. Jurassic 5, Malakoff 3, Fowler 2, and Sprenger 1. Current points leader, Isaac Jurassic with 5. Itai Malakoff with 3 in second. Will Fowler has 2 in third. Joe Springer found 1, good for fourth. So the leader is the rider in the black and green. Second wheel spot there as they come across the line, right behind Itai. Seeing 8 to go. The next bell on 6 for points at 5. Seven to go. And our points getters all sitting right here at the front of this group of 6. Malakoff, the rider in second place, is the rider at the front, number 87. Number 91, lower on the track, Joe Springer. He found a single point in the first sprint, sitting in fourth. And everybody's waiting to hear the bell on this next lap. At 6 to go. Bell's ringing for more points next time around. Joe Springer down the sprinter's lane. Itai Malakoff on his right-hand side. Jurassic again for 5. Malakoff for 3 again. Springer will take the 2 this time. Watching Fowler come in for 1. Leaders seeing 3 to go. 3 to go. Coming back around this time, we're going to get our final bell and worth double points on this one. Again, Isaac Jurassic, our leader with 10 for the Liquid Velo team in the points. Itai Malakoff sitting in second with 6. The tie between Fowler and Sprang are about to be broken. They both have 3. They're all in this group now coming out of turn 4. Danielle Scoville in the white with the blue helmet, also in this group, competing for the podium for this junior girls top 3 spots as well. One to go. Down the back straight, it's that competitor Scoville we were just talking about a moment ago down the sprinters lane. Now Itai Malakoff coming to the front, and once again, it's going to be Jurassic with enough speed to be able to try to close this thing out. Isaac Jurassic comes to the front. Joe Spranger going to try to pick up his first second place across the line, so he's been improving each sprint. He'll have his best sprint on this final lap. And with that, he should be able to secure third place in the overall standings, as it'll be Jurassic's race to win with another 10 points to his name. Malakoff adds 6 more and holds on to second. Spranger finds 6 in that sprint, good for third. Nice race today for our juniors. Fifteen to 16-year-olds coming on up now to the rail. International tempo competitors, 15 to 16-year-olds to the rail. On your schedule, you'll see that these juniors are racing at international tempo. The only biggest difference in the international versus the standard tempo we race around here, the biggest thing to note is the beginning of the race is no points being given out at all. In fact, there's a few laps just to kind of set the race up. So in this case, because of the length of our track, we call it a 3-lap scratch to start it. Just 3 laps, no points given out during that time. We will ring a bell after they've completed that 3rd lap to remind them that we're going to start a warning, a point to the first rider across the line every lap from there on out. So 1 rider gets a point at the front of the field. After those first 3 laps are completed, 1 rider at the front picks up a point every lap until the end. Rider with the most number of points is our winner. Ties are broken by position on the finishing sprint. Racing has started. No points yet. Doesn't mean you can't make it fast. Try to catch him sleeping as Kaiser's going to go ahead and launch the attack right from the beginning of this race. Swanstrom does a good job of responding. He sends a message clearly to Kaiser that if you're going to do this, I can hold on to your wheel. So if you want to keep pulling, go for it. No bell yet, so we're still not doing points at the front of the race. Not until we get that bell are we going to start working on that point a lap. Seeing 8 to go. Next lap, they're going to hear a bell. The next time they cross the line after that will be for the first point. So nice work by the juniors to cover that attack right from the beginning of this race. Henry and Kaiser decided to make it fast. It was Swanson to first catch. And then once some things kind of settle down a little bit, the group gets back together again. This ahead of the bell for the first points. Next lap, one rider gets a point. Next lap, a rider gets a point. And every lap after this, we'll keep doing the same thing. 7 to go. One point to the lead. Pratis trying to win this first one with Kaiser on his right-hand side. It'll be a 2-up challenge here. Kaiser looks like he's getting the speed necessary. He'll find a point on this first one at 6 to go. Every single lap, we're going to keep looking for a rider at the front. Our current race leader, Kaiser, number 80.
As the leaves start falling down and the shadows above the town, I can finally see you now.
Kaiser going to try to double down and find yet another. 2 points. They just saw 5 to go, and Kaiser's going to go ahead and continue to apply all the speed he's got. Might as well. If he can get rid of these riders, he can go ahead and just make it a race for second behind him. If he doesn't let anybody else get points, which could happen if he continues to try to roll away here, what happens behind him is everybody's got 0. They're just in a scratch race to the last lap. That's when the tie with 0 points will be broken. So that's one way to think about it. Kaiser doing a nice job here. Still going. 4 laps remain.
As the leaves start falling down and the shadows above the town, we used to
Three to go, and our race leader keeps adding to his totals. 4 points. It appears that the race for second is now been settled on, so this field allowing Kaiser to roll away from him. We'll be watching each other for the finish, and we'll be racing for second. Unless something drastic happens here in the next couple laps. Henry putting on a nice show here for us with all this speed he's been putting on. Nice consistent effort from the young rider here to pick up yet more on the lap. He's got 5. Elite women, junior 17, 18-year-old women. Omnium race upcoming. The Omnium, the second race will be the Tempo. I will call up in point order, so be prepared for that. Descending points in the Omnium called up to the rail. Henry closing it down, picking up his 6th and soon to be 7th point at 1 to go. One to go. Race is on for second place. Kelly Darlene down in the lower position on the track. Swanstrom pulls up and out of the way and leaving some room underneath. Peter Gilchrist with that white helmet sees an opportunity to go ahead and go. Why not give it a try? So he's off and away. The race for second really on now down the back straight. Carl Pratt is challenging in here. Put your hands together real quick for Henry with a nice race today. Picking up 7 as he cruises in for the win. Behind him, though, it's going to be Swanstrom getting the second wind. Swanstrom and Pratis. Swanstrom coming around the outside. We'll pick up the second place. Pratis almost getting there. A nice second effort from Swanstrom to be able to find that one. All right, the Omnium, the second race for our women, calling up in points order. I'm going to go descending order of the points in the Omnium as it stands. Beginning with our 15 points, our winner of the first race, Annette Williams. In second place currently with 14 points, Skylar Samuelson. With 13 points, Emily McNary. With 12 points, Lisa Erickson. 11 points, Becca Kawaoka. 10 points, Amara Edwards. 9 points, Carol Johnson. And the junior 15 to 16-year-olds just taught us how this race goes. It's a 3-lap scratch going into point a lap. That's how we will run the tempo for this International Omnium. Winners in this race continue to add points in their overall standings as they continue to work towards that last race of the night. For them, the points race in this International Omnium is the culmination of their work, so we called them up in order. If you win the race, you pick up 15. Second place gets 14. Third place gets 13. So it still pays to be in the top. There's no reason to give up if you're not in the top 3. You need to keep fighting for places in this race so you can have the best start possible in the points race later tonight. On deck, the Omnium for our men that are here in the Omnium competition. Again, the elite men and junior 17 to 18-year-old junior men, they are joining in for this Omnium Tempo, the International Omnium Tempo race coming up next. And off we go for our first lap. Again, we'll hear a bell when that lap card showing 7, reminding us that we are transitioning into a point a lap. Seeing 8 to go. Next lap is our bell. Then we start working on that point a lap. Lisa Erickson at the front. One point to the leader this lap and for the rest of the race. 7 to go. Kawaoka starting to reposition herself, the rider in the white, coming up and over the right-hand side. Emily McNary on her wheel, as is the rest of the field. Our second place finisher from the scratch with a good position, and she'll come up over the right-hand side. A lot of ground to cover. She does a good job getting up there quickly. That's Skylar Samuelson now at the front, looking to get this first point. Bib 120 picks it up and is our early leader. Emily McNary, the rider in gray, 103. She's already up to speed trying to chase onto Skylar. She'll just roll that momentum right on through, and Annette says, I'm going to follow this wheel and see if I can maybe get her this time. So Emily hoping to find her first point. So is Annette coming through these turns. The field getting broken up on the effort of these three, starting to pull away from the rest of the riders in the field tonight. At 5 to go, Williams will do as planned. Our current race leader, a little bit away from the field here. Picking up another. Make it 3 points for Skylar now at 3 to go. Our current race leader, Skylar Samuelson, bib 120, is falling back a little bit here as now Lisa Erickson has recovered and is beginning to put in an attack of her own. Not having found any points yet, hoping that these later laps will play to her strength. 2 to go. Erickson with the point now and in a tie for second with Annette Williams. A rower turned track cyclist, the current race leader, trying to put into play some of her long distance abilities in this race and see if she can just keep this up. And that's going to try to be on her wheel again, see if she can get up here in time for the next points before Lisa can grab it. 2 to go, 2 to go. Our leader is coming through. We're about to see 1 to go in the bell. Erickson at the front. Samuelson wants to get one more here. Looks like she'll find it. She's uncatchable in the points at this point in the race. She's got 4. Williams and Erickson both have 1. So whoever between them finds the next point will be in second in the race. Unless Samuelson can grab the point, then we'll break the tie based on how they come across the line. It looks like Annette Williams has got enough for this one to try to secure second place. Samuelson's not giving up on this one. Annette Williams making a nice move. Samuelson, Williams, Samuelson. Annette will still break the tie, though, and end up in second, despite the fact she doesn't get the point. A warning to number 86 for crossing the track while racing is underway. Our next Omnium race can come on up to the rail now. We are set to go. Track is cleared. Oh, okay. My bad. That's why Phil's looking at me funny. For confirmation, David Miller in the lead with 15. Stephen Wilson's in second with 14. Alexander Merson in third with 13. 12 points for Andy Baker. 11 to David Richter. 10 to Dylan Davies. 9 to Christian Miller. 9 to Norman Richard. 8 to Adam Engert. 7 to Kenny Williams and Artem Schmidt. 6 points for Taylor Crane. 5 for Nolan Adams and Jay Delaney. 4 for Ryan Olson. Andrew Karlberg, Peter Snowblin both with 3 points. Nick Martinez with 2. Darlene, Hotchkiss, and Wilson with 1. To clarify, again, a 3-lap scratch before we start doing points. You will hear a bell when the cards are showing 12 to go, signaling the beginning of the point of lap. Once again, this is one of the international tempo races, a point a lap after the first couple laps have completed. As we continue to build up the points for riders in this Omnium, our leader in the Omnium so far is Split Mango racer David Miller. Split Mango, the black and yellow team. He's mid-pack right now with a white helmet on. You'll see bib number 47 on our Omnium leader coming into this race. Up at the top also is bib 21. Remember from that scratch race, the two of them breaking away from the field at 2 to go. And the winner of the bunch sprint, the field sprint, was Alexander Murrison, bib 44 in 3rd place. So there's some bibs to keep your eye on. Again, number 47, David Miller. 21, Stephen Wilsons. 44, Murrison. Miller in the black and yellow. Wilsons has got an all blue kit on. He's right now currently at the very back end of the field, sitting in on that group getting up to speed now. And Murrison for Trek Red Truck Racing with a white and red kit on. Midfield currently. The tempo, a very different kind of race than a scratch, though. We're going to see some new names try to work their way up into this one. One of those I'm going to keep my eye on is right at the front of the field right now, Dylan Davies. No question that he's going to try to do something here to establish some more dominance in this field. Getting ready for the bell, starting to accelerate here. Talked about him a couple laps ago. This is rider Dylan Davies at the front of the field, number 3. Getting ready for this thing to get started. Our Omnium leader in third wheel, I should say, behind Davies right now in the black and yellow. It's a long race. Still plenty more opportunities to find a point. Every sprint is equal, so you want to be smart about your timing here. Who's going to make an effort for some points in this one? Here comes the sprint for the first point. Looking at Adam Angert, that's number 39 coming out for that one. Now it looks like Richter wants his turn. So coming out of this moderately speeded group, plenty of opportunities for riders to have these very quick jumps, something that Richter can do well, so he'll apply that here to pick up his first point. Anytime you've got a chance to and you're at the front of this very long lineup, you might as well try, because every sprint's equal. You might as well find a point where they're available, so Richter's doing just that. And now he's going to roll with it because he sees very little response, so he might as well try to get a second one, and it looks very well like he's on his way to do just that. Seeing 9 to go, Richter picking up his second point. Now in the lead of the race, Adam Angert, our first points getter, in second with 1 point. Everybody else sitting with 0. Richter might be able to pick up a third here. Still not seeing much response out of this field. He's putting in a nice effort here after that quick jump out of the group. His third point in a row, and his lead is building at 8 laps left. He was already near the top of the Omnium. He's in 5th currently with 11 points. So if he does well in this race, he will find himself in a great position going into the next event. Delaney trying to do some work at the front of the field. It's now starting to chase. It looks like Christian Miller says, I'll try to see if I can get there. He looks around and sees 0 response. It's just Miller versus Richter now. Richter hoping to pick up his 4th in a row. Miller is accelerating. Richter, it's going to be Miller, I think. Whoa. Close to the line. Miller just getting there in time. Our leader is still Dave Richter. Number 23 in the green off the front of the field. Now it's going to be Miller's turn to be the front edge of this thing for a few laps. He's going to roll. Again, when you put in that effort to get up to speed, you should use it. Don't put on the brakes. Just keep going. That's what Miller's going to do. He's opened up an even bigger gap here. 6 laps to go. And Miller's now got 2 points. Sitting in 2nd place. Richter, our leader, with 3. Christian Miller is still in a good spot here to find another point. No problem this lap. Will there be another? If he can do it again, he becomes the leader at 5 to go. Christian Miller came into this race sitting in 7th in the Omnium with 9, but he will pull up now as he comes into the tie for the lead with 3 points. Going to be seeing 4 to go, and now Dylan Davies will try to make his move. As Davies gets off the front, he's not going to be allowed to pick up a point as Delaney follows his wheel. Jay Delaney for Lost Boys uses that wheel to get a point, guaranteeing him a better finishing position than he had in the scratch race. But now Davies is out there on his own. Murrison at the front of the field starting to push things. If that name sounds familiar, that's because he's in 3rd in the Omnium, so he begins to push the field forward. 3 to go. Davies gets a point. His first of the race, now tied with 2 other riders, all with 1 apiece. Good for 3rd. Kenny Williams almost there. Davies trying to find 1 more. You can see he's not slowing down. You can see he's pushing down the pedals, not up on it. He's trying to get 1 more point here. It looks like it's going to be awfully tough. As watch out for Murrison, who's got a good spot here. Williams, who's got good positioning as well. Murrison has a better run at it. I think he's going to find it on the outside. Murrison finds his first at 2 to go. Murrison is the only rider in the top 3 to find a point yet, as David Miller and Steven Wilsons have not made it to the front of this field yet. So in Omnium standings, it's Murrison who's going to be able to cash in bigger here if he can be in the top 3 or 4 positions in this race. Trying to pull ahead in this Omnium standings. Getting the 1 to go, coming around the corner. There's our bell. Murrison gets 2. He might just be our winner if he can do 1 more lap ahead of the field. Kenny Williams is trying to spoil it. Bib number 1 in the chase. Andy Baker now in the chase as well. Couple riders trying to get themselves up there quickly. It's going to be Baker who's got the best effort to get there now. Baker closing down the distance. Look at this jump through the gap here. Murrison trying to hold on to the front position. Baker's making a nice run at it, though. Murrison, Baker. Murrison's got enough speed left for it. Murrison, with that, will be in a 3-way tie for first, but because he comes across the line ahead of his competitors, he is our winner in the points rate, or in the tempo, excuse me. So Murrison, speaking of the points, will be our, most likely, our Omnium leader coming out of this, considering he was the highest position in the Omnium with coming into this race before he won this one. So we'll see how those points totals come out here after we've put it all together in our system. So I'm taking just a moment off the mic as we do a quick podiums on the infield for our younger juniors. Gives us an opportunity for some riders to get switched over and ready if they weren't already. We are going into Keirin finals. Starting with the Elite Masters Women Keirin finals, followed by juniors, 15 through 18-year-olds, and then the Elite Men. Coming up now is our Elite Masters Women Keirin Major Final. Those competitors, Edwards, Samuelson, Kawoka, and Johnson. On deck, junior 15 through 18-year-old competitors in their Keirin Final. Kaiser, Bradis, Swanstrom, Gilchrist, and Darlene are on deck. Skylar Samuelson in lane 1, Amar Edwards in lane 2, Carol Johnson lane 3, Becca Kawoka in lane 4. Pacer getting the signal to go. Taylor's going to help us out with our e-bike for our next race. Pacer exiting the turn. Riders ready. This is a direct to final for these 4 competitors. So here are our top 4 riders for our Keirin. We'll see how they come around in this 4-lap event. Again, it's Samuelson that draws lane 1 and is going to be right behind the bike. One of 2 riders in the all-white kit. With the disc wheel, we can see that from across the track. The 2 Greg's riders, bib 104 Edwards with the lighter colored helmet. Behind her, Carol Johnson, currently in 3rd position. Our last rider in this group is Becca Kawoka in the white with some red there. On deck, our juniors competing in the Keirin finals, 15 to 18-year-olds. They're followed by the elite men that qualified, our 6 riders that made it into the Keirins. 2 to go, 2 to go. Now the race is on. Samuelson takes the front and does not give it up. Doing a drag race from behind the pacer. Edwards on the wheel. 1 to go, 1 to go, 1 to go. Samuelson having to do a little bit more work than Edwards, who's got the wheel and the draft. This is going to benefit her if she can stay with her around the rest of this lap. Still Samuelson on the lead of it. Edwards trying to keep the wheel in close contact so she can get as much benefit from the draft before she decides to go around the right-hand side. Samuelson in an all-out effort, a 600-meter sprint for her. Edwards now trying to see if she's got enough to go around the outside. She's been saving it for the last bit, and she will be able to accelerate and take it. 15 to 18-year-old juniors are coming on up. Now it's helping them draw for position, and on deck will be our elite men major final: Carlberg, Richter, Bruneau, Davies, Lofa-Holes, and Baker. Pacers on its way. Lane 1, Carl Pratis will be right behind the moto to start this thing off, with Swanstrom in lane 2, Gilchrist in lane 3, Kaiser in lane 4, and Kelly Darlene in lane 5. Pacer exiting the turn. Riders ready. From this point, 1 to go before they'll have the pacer pulled on the back lap. So getting up to speed, our junior competitors. Still Pratis, the rider, right behind the pacer. That's going to be probably seeing daylight first, with Swanstrom on his wheel. Peter Gilchrist, the rider in the middle. Kaiser, our speedster from earlier in that International Omnium, who just kind of got away from the rest of the riders, so we know he's got some distance to him. Also with the ability with some quick speed. Kelly Darlene is the 5th rider in that lineup as the pacer pulls out of the way. Pratis is looking over his right-hand shoulder. He's smart. He knows that if he's at the front, he's got the hardest job, so he's waiting for somebody else to do the work before he does. 1 to go. Pratis just very disciplined here, just watching and waiting. He's okay keeping the pace where it is. Eyes over the shoulder, waiting for the sprint to be engaged. The Keirins lap serving mostly as a prelude to this move now, as Parker Swanstrom will try to accelerate from further back in the group. He's now got the front. Pratis still has a sprinter's lane, but he's now not at the front of the race, so it's going to be Swanstrom and Kaiser coming around through the corner. It's still Swanstrom on the pedals here. Swanstrom with a strong 300-meter sprint will take it, as Kaiser will come across the line second. I think it's Pratis for third. Elite Men, Keirin Major Final coming up now. On deck, the elimination for our 15 through 16-year-olds. In lane 1, looks like Tyler Davies will pick the inside position for this competition. Andrew Karlberg is in lane 2. Hans Lofelholz, lane 3. Lane 4 is Dave Richter. Lane 5 is Andy Baker, and the last rider closest to the rail in lane 6, Keith Bruneau. This is a straight race for positions on this podium. Top 6 positions in the overall Keirins. Our top 3 will podium for medals in our regional championships. Pacer gets a signal. It's on its way. Pacer exiting the turn. Riders, ready. Again, medal implications here. Our top 3 will be on the podium today in this competition for the elite men. No race within the race. This is 6 riders all eligible for the same podium, the same medals. Tyler Davies at the front of this group. Andrew Karlberg in second wheel. Hans Lofelholz will fall right there into third spot. In that green is Dave Richter. In the black and yellow behind him is Baker, Andy Baker. And then the last rider in that group in kind of the dark blue, that's elite racer Keith Bruneau. 3 to go, getting up to speed. Plenty of speedsters in this group, some true sprinters amongst them as well. Generally, we would say the Keirin is more of a sprinter's event than an endurance event, obviously. Shorter distance, lots of high speed going on here. Especially lately at our track, we like to reset it so it's even more prone to really benefit those with the strong twitch kind of response, as oftentimes it'll slow back down before getting up to top speed. At 2 to go, Davies at the front's going to have a hard decision in a second. He knows who's behind him, or at least he assumes from the lineup from before that nothing's changed. He's thinking Karlberg's right behind me. Hans Lofelholz showed in his qualifying event that he's got a real good way of maneuvering and navigating in these fields. So Davies makes the choice. I'm not surprised with this. Pulls to the right and says, all right, somebody else take that front position. I ain't going to do it. Now the field now all doing something similar that we saw as Carl Pratis in the last race. This is exactly what Andrew Karlberg is doing, looking over the right-hand shoulder. And now Karlberg is on the go from the sprinter's lane. All-out drag race for 400 meters. Richter is trying to challenge that 400-meter effort of Karlberg, and that's one hard thing to do. It's going to be Karlberg putting it on a good clinic at the top speed event here in the Keirin. Richter coming in for second. I think a nice toss there for Tyler Davies should secure third. So from the officials, there is a relegation for 45. That's Bruneau for passing underneath the relegation given by our officials team. Sort of a moot point, all things considered, but still communicating well from our team. So that's the official call. (15-16) elimination to the rail. And we have some eliminations coming up. Elimination is where the last rider across the line every single lap during the race is going to exit. They are eliminated until we get down to essentially one. Now, we're not going to eliminate the second to last rider and then make the winner go around for a parade lap. So you will see two riders on the final lap sprinting for the finish. First and second place will be determined at the same time. Our group of five will make this a fairly short race, so expect some speed from the group here to establish who's going to be able to stick around for a couple laps of high-speed elimination. On deck, we get into the third race of the Omnium for our women, and then our men. So the Omnium for the women first, and then the men, and I promise I'll do better on the call-ups for both groups coming up here in just a bit.
Stopping us, fly without boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I'll be moving fast. Call me a shooting star.
And there's the bell, or the whistle, which means next time last rider across the line is eliminated.
Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star.
Doesn't pay to be at the front, but it is a problem to be at the back. (113) Kelly Darlene. 113 Darlene. It was between her and Gilchrist, I believe, was the heads up there. But Gilchrist will survive for another lap. We'll see if he can make it around again. He's the rider at the back of the field right now, with Swanstrom moving into the front position after Kaiser sent the first fast lap. Another rider to eliminate here. Gilchrist accelerating nicely. Paredes finding himself in a tough spot. 81 is Carl Paredes. Three riders in the field. That means we're going to eliminate one more, and the bell will be ringing as we do that, signaling they're at one to go at the same point. Might have a bit of a volunteer here. No pole at this point, as we have a volunteer behind you. So the race is on at one to go here. One to go between Kaiser and Swanstrom. Swanstrom assigns himself in the second position now, as it's Kaiser at the front. And it looks like our rider for the Jerry Baker Jr. team has enough to close this one down and be the victor in our elimination. Coming into the Omnium for the women, calling down again from descending order, starting first with our riders with the most number of points. with 29 points in the lead. Tied right now is both Annette Williams and Skylar Samuelson. With 25 points in a tie for third is Lisa Erickson and Emily McNary. With 22 points, Becca Kawaoka. 20 points, Amara Edwards. 18 points, Carol Johnson. On deck, the Elite Men's Omnium continues with their third of 4 races. Couple laps longer than the previous race, but essentially when you see 3 riders on the track, you'll know that we're about to hear a bell and a 1 to go as we work through our elimination. Into the neutral we go. The elimination beginning. Next lap, last rider is pulled. Lisa Erickson trying to put some hurt on the group right from the beginning of this race. We'll watch the back of the field and see how they respond. It's actually, though, Carol Johnson at the far back end. It's now Skylar that's kind of in the worst position down in the sprinter's lane. We'll see if that works out for her on this lap. Should be okay down there this time, as it looks like the tail end of the field may not be able to make it around in time. We'll see. .112 is Carol Johnson. So it's tough if you're in that sprinter's lane and you got someone in front of you, because when it's time to move, you got nowhere to go except for where that person takes you. So oftentimes that can be a dangerous spot to be in, but it does mean at this point in the race you're working less. So riders down in the sprinter's lane, got to be thoughtful as we get further on in the race. At this point, it's harder, but also more freeing to be at the back, where you're able to move left and right and kind of position yourself. That's where Edwards finds herself now as she accelerates and tries to leave a rider out. It looks like one right down the middle, not able to adjust fast enough, is Emily McNary. 103 caught that time, 103. She was up and out of the saddle trying to readjust herself. She saw that move happening. She was left right in the middle and kind of pinched out of it. Becca Kawaoka now forced to try to respond as the riders are looking around for where their 5th rider is. Erickson just setting this pace at the front and making it tough for the whole field. Kawaoka doing a good job responding here, trying to get there in time. .140 is Kawaoka. 4 in the field. Lisa Erickson at the front still. Skylar Samuelson in second. Annette Williams is the 3rd rider in that lineup. And Amara Edwards is 4th in the group. The 4th rider in this group that gets eliminated in just a moment will be 4th in the race. That is how the elimination is placed as well. So we'll see who will be in 4th overall in this event on this lap. A sprint around the outside for Edwards again, trying to hold on for another lap. It looks like it might be the end of that one. 104 is Amara Edwards. Next time around, they're going to hear a bell reminding them that we're expecting it to be a 1 to go race at that point, since we got 3 riders in our group. Williams at the back of that group right now, with Samuelson right in the middle and Erickson at the front. Erickson's got the hard task now of trying to respond. She can sense them coming. She got up and out of the saddle. But will she have enough to hold on? Oh, man. It's 107 caught that time, Annette Williams. Erickson and Samuelson make it in for another lap. This is our final lap. Ericsson's been sitting on the front. It looks like this is going to be the perfect position for Skylar to be in to try to challenge. Ericsson's got that hard task again, being at the front, seeing if she's got enough to do it one more time. And Samuelson says, I think I got it this time. Skylar will take the race in the elimination. Elite men calling up an order of descending order with your points, beginning with the racer with the highest number, and working our way down. Elite men with the most number of points in the Omnium, 28 for Alexander Murrison. Oh, he's on the warm-up circle. I see him. He's coming. In second place with 25 points, Dave Richter. In third with 22, a tie between Christian Miller, David Miller, and Dylan Davies. 21 points, Andy Baker. 19 points, Stephen Wilsons. 18 points, Adam Engert. 16 points, Jay Delaney. 15 points, Kenny Williams. Norman Richard. 13 points, Taylor Crane. 12 points, Artem Schmidt. 10 points, Mike Darlene. 8 points, Ryan Olson. 7 points, Nolan Adams. 6 points, Andrew Carlberg. 4 points, Chris Wilson and Peter Snoblin. 3 points, Nick Martinez. 2 points, Lachlan Hotchkiss. Getting set for the elimination in the Omnium. Especially important for the call-ups here, as the elimination, usually the fastest neutral, especially for our elite competitors here. So you can see already they're moving pretty quickly. Getting the call-up moves you a little closer to the front of that neutral, which could play a part in the way that this race works, and often does. So again, our leader in the Omnium, leading by 3 points, is Murrison. What's the benefit of leading the Omnium is that's the points you carry forward into the final points race. So Murrison, so far with the best start in that race. He's got one more race to try to build that resume before we get there. Whistle is sounded as they are together, eliminating next lap, down to 1. This one's going to be a bit longer, folks. We got more riders in this field for sure. First rider eliminated next time around. '52 is Peter Snoblin. Lachlan Hotchkiss, number 50. Plenty more riders to eliminate here in our field. Mike Darlene making a move at it, trying to stay in another lap. Who's he going to leave out? Number 48 is Ryan Olson for Indy Racing. Number 19 is Martinez. 40, 40. Mike Darlene. Darlene. Rays on the right side having to do a little bit of work here. 5-1 is Wilson. Chris Wilson. 51. A lot of speed on the back part of this lap. As you can see, riders really flying up, trying to make sure they're not left behind as the wave comes swinging through here. It's tough to be down the bottom of this thing, but looks like Arden Schmidt's going to try to go down there. That's going to be a tough spot to be. It might work for him, might not. It will not. Number 12 is Artem Schmidt. I see 13 out there still in the group. Plenty more riders to eliminate from our field. In the elimination, there is never a no pole lap, so we just keep on going down until we're out of riders. Looks like Carlberg trying to sprint around the right side. 43, number 43, Norman Richard. '27 is Delaney. 27, Jay Delaney. Watching the effort here from the back, swinging up and around, still trying to hold on to this thing. Looks like Angert's got enough speed to do another lap here. '23, Richter. 23, Richter. '39, Adam Angert. Another effort from Carlberg to go on right side, and he's going to leave behind 47, David Miller. '24 there, give it a head bob. Zeke. Number 2 is Andrew Carlberg, caught that time. On the previous lap, the colorful personality of Nolan Adams and the colorful language. It's all right, buddy. We love you. Getting down to it. Just a few more to eliminate. Taylor Crane hanging her head as she realizes it's about to be over. And officials call number 123, Taylor Crane. Now it's going to start getting real tough to survive as these riders are going to try to work pretty hard against each other, making the next couple laps a real test of endurance and top speed here. Christian Miller going to find himself in a tough spot. Oh, man. Number 7 is Christian Miller. The toughest spot out there is the rest of the field sweeping over the top of him. Miller caught out there. We got 4 riders in the group. Miller ends up in 5th. Davies at the front. Murrison in second wheel. Kenny Williams in third wheel. And Baker at the back end of that lineup. He's looking out the legs going, I don't know if there's anything left down there to do this. 99 is Andy Baker. 3 left in the field. They're going to get the bell next time. Upcoming Keirin podiums. Masters and 15 through 16 individual races. There's the bell. Who's going to be left out here? Williams in the tough spot, but he's going to try to sprint for it. I think he's got it. Number 3 is out, Dylan Davies. Williams holds on. Murrison and Williams are the top 2. 1 lap left for the 2 to sprint head-to-head. Williams not liking where he's been placed on the track, so he's going to let this one go now as Murrison pulls away. Murrison and Williams. All right, so with that, we will be doing a bit of podiums here. I will read off the order of the podiums for what races we'll be doing here in just a moment. So Masters Madison will be first. Masters men, their 12-lap scratch. The Elite Masters Women Major final for the Keirin. The 15 through 18-year-old Keirin final. And then finally the Elite Men Keirin final are all going to be in this podium presentation while we give our Omnium competitors a rest period before we call them up for their last race of the night. Again, a bit of a delay anyways. We need some time to rest between the Omnium event. Come on over to the Beverage Garden. Join us for the rest of the evening. We'd love for you to hang out for the final race tonight. Get to watch the culmination of the Omnium, a points race coming up here shortly. We're going to get our podiums going. That's Masters Madison, followed by the Masters Men 12-lap scratch. The Elite Masters Women Keirin final, 15 to 18-year-old junior Keirin, and finally the Elite Men Keirin will be on the podium. We begin with the Masters Madison teams. Top 3 in tonight's competition. Top 3 in the Masters Madison today. In third place, the Greg's Green cycling team of Mike Robson and Dave Chipchase. In second place, the Vi13 racing teams of Hans Lovelholz and Jay Delaney. And they got the Madison kit on. Oh, very nice. And our champions racing in the KW Racing Center Cycles blue and yellow, Brett Walker and Kenny Williams. congratulations to our Masters Madison champions. Next up, the Masters Men's Scratch Race. We got a lot of age categories here. I'm going to go in order, starting with the 35 through 39 and working our way through. First up in the 35 through 39, I got one rider, and that's our champion, Brett Walker. Next up in the 40 through 44 category, I got another rider, and he's our champ, James Shimada. James here? Okay. Moving on. Next up in our 45 through 49 category, in third place, Dave Chipchase. In second place, Hyun Lee. And your 45 to 49 champion, Mike Robson. And on our 50 to 54 podiums, in third place, David Matthews. In second place, Mike Rogers. And your champion and the winner of the race overall, Hans Lofelholz. Next up in our 55 through 59 in the scratch race, in third place, Mike Fadich. In second place, Vern Cole. And the champion in the age category, Eric Waterman. Okay, in our 60 to 64 age category, our champion is Angel Liano. Our 65 to 69 champion, Mark Sasso. And our 75 up category, our champion, Jerry Powell. Gotta get the good podium picture in there. Next up is the Elite and Masters Women Keirin final. In third place is Becca Kawaoka. In second place, Skylar Samuelson. And your Keirin champion, Amara Edwards. Our 15 through 18 juniors Keirin final. In third place, Carl Pratis. In second place, Henry Kaiser. And our junior Keirin champion, Parker Swanstrom. And finally, the Elite Men Keirin final. Top 3. In third place, Tyler Davies. In second place, David Richter. And your Keirin champion, Andrew Carlberg. In just a moment, the Omnium resumes for the women, followed by the men in the last race of the night. The last 2 races coming up. Omnium women competitors, time to gear up and get ready to go. Our podiums are concluded. Again, calling Omnium competitors for the women Omnium to the rail. We begin our next event. I'll do call-ups, of course. Thanks, Teddy. For the last race, it is good to know the number of points you begin with. So we begin with the racer with the most number and work our way down. In the lead of the Omnium with 44 points, Skylar Samuelson. In second with 42 is Annette Williams. And in third with 39 is Lisa Erickson. 35 points, Emily McNary. 33 points, Becca Kawaoka. 32 points, Amara Edwards. 27 points, Carol Johnson. On deck, the Omnium for the men will be our last race of the evening. The Omnium comes to a conclusion in this final race of the night for our groups. They come in with a certain number of points, so we already have a points leader, and that's Skylar Samuelson, the rider called up at the beginning, bib 120. Her lead over her competitors is not terribly strong, though, as the points difference in this field is pretty small. So Annette Williams comes in with 42, Lisa Erickson comes in with 39, Emily McNary coming in with 35. So you can hear that the points totals aren't too different between the riders. What's important to pay attention to is from top to bottom, there's about a 20-point split. Our first place rider comes in with 44. The last place comes in with 27. So there is an advantage there to come in with that lead position over the rest of the field. Our 20-lap race, I believe, is a 4x5. So off we go to start our 4x5. First bell at 16 to go. The current Omnium leader in the current leader in this race already before any points racing, is right in the middle of that group, number 120. Third wheel right now in the lineup. She moves up a little bit as we rotate through our riders. No bell yet, but they're getting set up for it. Next lap will be the first bell of 4 in this race. Lisa Erickson trying to get away with it. Emily McNary matching tempo here at 17 to go. And Skylar Samuelson on the chase trying to get back up there. As Erickson is hunting for this first bell to be ringing. That bell's ringing for our first point sprint. So that group of 4 going into the Greg Cycle sign in turn 2 are at the front of the race and are all eligible for some points here. The field chasing behind them will likely not be able to get any at this point. Annette Williams pushing ahead for 5, Samuelson 3, Erickson 2, McNary 1. Edwards putting on some pressure here. Pulls up quickly. Waiting for the field to join in on this one. That first sprint put Annette Williams in a tie with Skylar Samuelson. After picking up 5. Samuelson picking up the 3. Puts them tied currently. 13 to go. Samuelson off the front a little bit with Erickson. Samuelson and Williams with 47 apiece. Erickson with 41. McNary now with 36. The other 3 riders with the same points as they started with, 33, 32, and 27. At 12 to go, Edwards will come back to the front. Kawaoka will settle in to match the speed. Now Edwards and Kawaoka will team up and see if they can get some space for themselves and maybe some more points here ahead of the rest of that field. Doesn't look like the space created might end up being enough. Coming into the bell, looks like Erickson doing a heck of a lot of work to try to bring it back together again. Erickson going the long way around to make sure she's clear as the bell's ringing at 11 to go. Erickson at the front. Kawaoka still near the front position, but Samuelson now with a bit fresher legs likely going to be able to overtake. Ericsson often able to get up to quick speeds off the front of this field. The challenge is staying away and the closing moments here. See if she can do it on this sprint. An increase in speed from Samuelson now, and Ericsson still at the front now. Samuelson takes that position. Samuelson, oh, McNary, then Ericsson, and then Williams. Our leader right now is Skylar Samuelson with 52 points. In second place with 48 is Annette Williams. I have Lisa Erickson with 43 in third and Emily McNary in fourth with 39. Again, our other three riders unchanged with their points, 33, 32, and 27. Watching riders kind of race against each other, Kaoka sensing maybe a window here for herself to put in her own effort. So now it's going to be Kaoka with an attempt away from the field, trying to get some points in the points race, not yet having found them, and putting herself in a pretty good spot here. Again, the difficult task is keeping that effort going as the field behind her has more combined energy between them. See if Kaoka can put it together here and get some points in the points race. 7 to go. 7 to go. Definitely well played here. Kaoka sensed that chance for her to put in a nice effort, and this is going to set herself up well for the 5 points upcoming and maybe more down the road. We'll have to wait and see. Nice effort by Kaoka. Points next lap. And the Beverage Garden is enjoying the effort here. Bell's ringing. 3 points to the leader on this lap out of the field. Kaoka finds the 5. Skylar Samuelson with a nice sprint here for 3. Williams should find the 2 there as McNary will get 1. Order hasn't changed yet, but the points are getting a little bit more interesting and closer, especially between second and fifth place or so. Skylar Samuelson, still our leader, 55 points. Annette Williams in second with 50. Lisa Erickson in third with 43. Emily McNary in fifth with 40. And Becca Kaoka in fifth with 38. But look where Becca is in relationship to this field. The last sprint is worth 10 points, so if she can get there and pick up the Big 10, her 38 turns to 48, and that could very well overtake some riders in the field and move her up in the Omnium standings. So this is going to pay off for her in a couple more laps as I don't see this field chasing. I think our top 2, Williams and Samuelson, are kind of watching each other, but right now, 55 for Samuelson, and Williams has got 50. There's only one way for that really to work out, and that's for Samuelson to not be in the top 2 or 3 positions in this next sprint while Annette Williams gets the 6 points. That would be the way that lead changes. So we'll see how that goes. Kaoka coming through the turn. That's the front of our race in the white. Scene 2 to go. Becca on this impressive solo effort still driving here. That looks like Erickson again wanting to be the fire starter in this group. 2 to go. The leader in points is Bib 120. That's the rider in gray in the main field of 4 riders going through turn 2. The leader in position is about to get the bell. Becca Kawaoka on her way for 10. What a great finish for her in the Omnium tonight. Go get those 10 points. Again, that'll put her at a total of 48. We'll see how that plays out with the rest of this field and how they go for points. They've given up on the position of where Becca is quite a while ago. Samuelson getting the bell. We're going to see who gets 6. Samuelson now going into turn 1 with Annette Williams trying to get on that wheel quickly. Picking up the 10, now just coming around is Becca Kaoka, getting that payout for her hard effort tonight. Down the back straight, it's Samuelson and Williams, the 2 leaders in points. If they end in the way they are now, Samuelson will be our winner in the Omnium. Samuelson and Williams, that doesn't matter to Williams. She says, I'm still going to go get that 6. Of course I'm going to get 6 points here. Williams for 6, Samuelson for 4, Erickson for 2. Because Erickson gets 2 points there and Becca got 10, Becca goes from 5th place right up into 3rd for the solo effort in the Omnium, putting her on the podium. So Lisa Erickson, Becca Kawaoka with a nice move there, moving up into the top of that race. All right, the Omnium for the men. Call-ups coming in just a moment. Again, we're going to go in descending order. Highest points getters first. Currently in the lead in the Omnium for the men with 43 points, Alexander Murrison. In second with 35 points, Dylan Davies. And in a tie for third with 33 points apiece, Christian Miller and Andy Baker. 32 points, Dave Richter. 30 points, David Miller. 29 points, Kenny Williams. 25 points, Adam Engert. 23 points, Taylor Crane. 22 points, Jay Delaney. 20 points, Norman Richard. 17 points, Artem Schmidt. 16 points, Nolan Adams. 15 points, Andrew Carlberg. 13 points, Mike Darlene. 10 points, Ryan Olson. 8 points, Chris Wilson. 6 points, Nick Martinez. 5 points, Peter Snoblin. And 3 points, Lachlan Hotchkiss. Off we go. So you just watch how this works. Riders come in with a certain number of points already based on how they've been racing for the rest of the night. And the racer with the most coming into this one is Murrison. His bib number is number 44 for Trek Red Truck Racing. White and red near the front of the field right now as they come through on their neutral lap. Right next to him is the rider in second place, Langlois Brown Racing, Dylan Davies with the white. He's got some blue on his shorts. The white helmet, again, right next to our current leader, Murrison, at the front of the field. Christian Miller for 10-Speed Hero is also in there near the front with an all-black kit. He's number 7. Andy Baker, number 99 for Broadmark Capital in the black, white, and yellow near the front as well with a white helmet. That's number 99. Those are the top of the Omniums to start this thing off. So you know those are riders to watch as they've been doing well throughout the previous events. Points racing, especially a race of this length, 35 laps, is a whole nother beast. So putting down some predictions of racers to watch when you get this distance. Watch the guy at the front of this field. I'm sure many already are. Number 3, Dylan Davies, certainly a rider to watch this. He's already near the top of the Omnium, and a length like this will benefit his type of efforts. Going off the front already, though, is going to be Fountain Cycling Guild. That's going to be Chris Wilson, I believe, number 51, if I'm not mistaken. Making an effort off the front as the rest of the field says, we weren't ready yet. It's been a long day. I need a little bit more to warm up. Nice move for Chris here at 34 to go. That's the rider tied for third right now, number 7, Christian Miller, that does some work to bring the field up. He brings with him another rider at the top of this Omnium, Andy Baker, number 99, who now is at the front. So now you can see where those racers are in the field. Keep an eye on how they progress through this event. Chris Wilson, he's got a long way to climb. He's already at about a 35-point disadvantage coming into this race. So that's how it really plays out in these larger fields in the Omnium, is if you can't find a good place earlier, you got to do a lot of work in the points race to make a splash. Because currently Chris Wilson has 8 points, so he's hoping to get some here early and start working his way up a little bit. Early and often, he's going to have to find points in this event. You'll see 32 to go, and the first bell will be on the next lap, 31. Still Wilson up the front. I see Andy Baker just for a moment at the front, leaving room for others to now take the work, and the rest of the field kind of sitting up a little bit. It looks like David Miller down the sprinter's lane will keep the pace going okay here. 32 to go. Miller, our winner, David Miller, the rider at the front, 47, was our winner of the first race tonight in the Omnium. So another racer to watch for. He got away from the field in a smart move in the scratch race. But again, the riders in this group are experienced enough to know that the Omnium is about the long game. So winning the first race isn't how you win the Omnium. You got to play for every race to go. So we'll see how this one plays out. But Madison, of course, coming in with the strongest advantage. It's now going to be Chris Wilson getting the bell. Time for some points. 31 to go. Norman Richard, the rider in the white, able to put on a pretty strong effort here early on, is going to try to get up there quickly to where Wilson is and see if he can grab the 5 instead. Norman Richard overtaking the lead position quickly, and look at this. The field is still sitting up. This is an interesting situation for Norman. I'm not sure about his endurance on this, but if he's got any, he might be thinking about it right now. What can I do with this position I'm in? 30 to go. He says, nope, I'm good. 5 points. Nick Martinez, 3. Chris Wilson, 2. And Richter will blast off for 1. 5 points to Norman Richard brings him up to a points total of 25. While Dave Richter gets a single point, he now moves himself into a tie for third with 33. That ties him with Baker and Miller. Chris Wilson got 2. That gives him 10 points. Nick Martinez got 3. That gives him 9. Their overall positions are unchanged after the sprint. Who's this? Karlberg off the front, 28 to go. Number 2 putting in a solo effort here. He's about midway on the Omnium standing. Certainly one of our local speedsters. The Omnium, a tough event to hang around in with all these endurance races going on. Early on in this 35 lap points race is a great opportunity for a speedster to try to put in an effort and see what you can do with it and where that'll put you. Currently has 15 points, hoping to find some more here in a few laps. Bell next time for Karlberg, who finds himself a half lap up on the rest of this field. He's watching their movements, and he can see they've come quite quickly here as they see Chris Wilson begin to explode out the front a little bit himself for Fountain Cycling Guild in the green. Ryan Olson for Indy Racing takes the front, so things are still moving along. Bell ringing. Points next lap. Karlberg on his way for 5. That doesn't seem to be in question right now. The field's still organized here. It seems like they're not in the mood to let this get away entirely from themselves. Bell's ringing. Wilson at the front. Dylan Davies, the rider in second overall in the race right now, pulls to the front. Now you can see the gap starting to close down a bit here. Miller getting back into the race here. He had a bit of a bike issue to go. Carlberg pick up 5. Oh, Murrison with some good speed there for 3, I believe, while Dylan Davies got 2 and Andy Baker got 1, is what my eye shows. So after that sprint, new points totals. Merson, our race leader, is still in the lead. We'll bring his points up to 46 now. 37 for Dylan Davies in second. In third place is Andy Baker with 34. Two riders in fourth place. 33 points apiece is going to be Christian Miller, who got himself back in on that one, as well as David Richter. They both have 33. Other adjusted points is Andrew Carlberg, moves up to 20 with his new total after that sprint. The dog sink is getting good. Another impressive breakaway from the field. We're seeing this field allow some riders to get away here. This time it's a duo. Adam Engert and Kenny Williams. Engert, the rider on the front right now, with Williams right behind him. Bib 39 and 1, respectively. Our current race leader back in the field, Murrison, 44. Here comes Williams looking for points. Engert looking for 5 on the next lap. The Omnium racers right now are concerned about the Omnium. So the Omnium is going to be the race between the riders that already had points. So Murrison's watching Davies. Davies is watching Murrison. Christian Miller in there. Andy Baker. These guys are all the ones at the top of the Omnium. So if none of them are going, you may not see anybody else go. Artem Schmidt at the bell will take a big jump here. This sprint might equalize the distance again, but this lead group has gotten awfully close to the back of the field. Williams gets the 5. Engert looks to pick up the 3 there. The sprint out of the group here. Richter's got speed for sure. Christian Miller will get another point as well. Never count out Kenny Williams in a race like this with his ability to go the distance. Adam Engert showing some great grit as well here as the two of them team up to catch the field as they're on their way. Will they be able to do it? If they do so, they both gain 20 points, and that'll be enough to shoot them right at the top of the Omnium. They got to be thinking about that a little bit here. So now it's Andy Baker and David Miller starting to push off the front of the field. Murrison, Davies, and Baker remain unchanged in their points, but David Richter with 35 moves into third, as Christian Miller and Andy Baker find themselves in a tie for fourth. Again, Richter with 35 now in third place. Miller and Baker both with 34 tied in fourth. They're also in a tie with Kenny Williams, who's got 34 points after that last sprint. Adam Engert moves up to 28 points on his totals. Everybody else stays where they were. 17 to go. The front of the race coming around the corner.
Looking for a way out. Just want to squeeze all the pain out. Leeches under my skin break out.
16 in a bell, 16 in a bell. Here we go. Here comes the bell. Points at the front. You are now the front. Chris Wilson is now the front of the race. And 5 for Baker, 3 for David Miller, 2 for Morrison, 1 for Schmidt. So Williams and Angert do get the 20. It is confirmed. So Angert and Williams pick up 20 according to the official call. They are on the lap, so the front of the race is Andy Baker. So Williams and Angert go plus 20, and we are going to give a couple of points out here in a second for the points getters on that last sprint.
Looking for a way out. Just want to squeeze all this pain out. Leeches under my skin break out. Finding myself. Finding myself out of the
New points totals. Our race leader should be Kenny Williams with 54 points. A tie for second, 48 points to Angert and Morrison, tied in second. 39 points to Andy Baker is sitting in fourth. 37 for Dylan Davies. 33 for David Miller. 34 Christian Miller. 18 now for Artem Schmidt. Everybody else's points totals remain unchanged at 11 to go. So the lapping leaders do get well integrated into that main field now, but we have this front break that's starting to push off the front where all the points are going to be. It's good to get the plus 20, but now they've got to do some work if those riders that lap the field want to continue to earn points. Now Morrison's going to be able to add some to his lead. 5 more for Morrison, 3 more for Schmidt, 2 for Davies, 1 for Baker. Updated points. Our leader right now, Kenny Williams, unofficially 54. Alexander Morrison, second, 53. 48 points for Adam Angert, still good for third place right now. I got 40 points to Andy Baker in fourth. 39 to Dylan Davies in fifth. 35, David Richter's in sixth. 34, Christian Miller in 7th, and then goes 33 for David Miller. 23, Taylor Crane. 22, Jay Delaney. Rest of our points are still unchanged. Getting down to it, 2 more sprints left to go, and our breakaway consists of 3 riders hoping to set the story and the mood here at the end of this race and this long Omnium event that's been going on throughout our session. It's going to be Dylan Davies, number 3, pulling up and out of the way for number 44, Alexander Murrison, and Artem Schmidt, our junior, getting in the mix here with an amazing ability to go the distance. Davies, though, wants to really drop the hammer, make it hard for Murrison to hold on to his speed at 6 to go. If Murrison can pick up a lot of points off the front, he could still be our winner, even with Williams and Angert lapping the field. 6 to go. Second to last sprint here. Looks like Davies and Murrison going to go head-to-head. Murrison exactly where he wants to be on the wheel, so he's going to do what we're expecting him to do, which he's going to try to use that slipstream and come around. So 5 more for Murrison, 3 for Davies, and Schmidt will be getting 2. An important 1-point sprint coming out of the field, though. It looks like Richter is going to go for it because he knows that there's a close race going on for about 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th place. Every point can add up. Richter finds the 1. In the lead of the race, Alexander Murrison, 58 points. In second with 54, Kenny Williams. In third with 48 is Adam Angert. After that, I have 42 points for Dylan Davies in 4th place. 40 points for Baker. Good for 5th. 36 for David Miller. 34, Christian Miller. 33, David Miller. 23 points now for Artem Schmidt. The lead is now Alexander Murrison's to lose, the rider with 58 points off the front. In that lead group, Dylan Davies is struggling to find his way back into the top 3. He still has Adam Angert and Kenny Williams to beat, so he's trying to find the final 10 points if he can get there. This front group of 3 certainly going to be setting the pace that they need to. Williams is in second, but he's back in the field. He still needs points, and he needs to try to beat Murrison if he wants to do so. He'll have to get moving with this field at 2 to go. 58 for Murrison, 54 Williams, 48 Angert, 42 Dylan Davies, 40 Andy Baker. Those are top 5. Artem Schmidt down the sprinter's lane at the front of the race. He's about to get the bell. Dylan Davies and Alexander Murrison are using the whole track because they're racing each other here. They're got their eyes on one another. Bells ringing, 1 to go, 1 to go. The final lap of tonight's session. Here we go. 1 to go, 1 to go. As they sit up, guess who's coming? Andy Baker's been waiting for this one. He's in hot pursuit. He's low and in great position. Murrison says, I got to get on that wheel quick. He's going to go down and dive into the sprinter's lane. Now here comes Dylan Davies down there as well. Baker really wants to take this one. He's going all the way around the track. What an effort from Andy Baker out of the field. But Murrison says, I still got speed to go. I want to take this thing home. Dylan Davies is challenging around the corner, but I think Murrison's going to win the Omnium tonight. Alexander Murrison will do it. What a finish. That was a fun one. We're about to do a whole bunch more podiums. We are still hanging out. We are going to be here for a few more minutes as we get closing down for the evening. We still have more racing this weekend, so we're not just all finished up yet. So please do hang on. Join us in the beverage garden. Be around with us a little bit longer. Podiums will start here shortly. There's our champion from the Omnium, Murrison, coming around again. Nice job tonight on that race. Thanks to all our competitors tonight for a great evening. We saw some fantastic things throughout our session. We appreciate our fans for being with us again. Podiums to start shortly. For now, I think we're going to be signing out from the live stream since we are closing down the racing, and we have just a few more things for housekeeping. Thank you for tuning in on our live stream again. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button, give us that little alert button, and support us and racing here in the Pacific Northwest. We look forward to seeing you again for more racing here at the Jerry Baker Memorial Velodrome.